Right, hello everyone. So this is, well, welcome to Sad Voice. Sad Voice. This is Creator
Yeah,
in Residence stream number 16, and this is the last one of the Creator in Residence streams.
yeah,
So,
sad voice
Sad
here. So
Voice.
yeah, we are all sad here.
Yes. So, we were actually struggling for a topic of discussion, but we're going to take a look at Skirt, bringing a Skirt into Studio and taking a look at that pathway
Yes.
and seeing how that, the basic process of doing all of that. And so we're going to use Studio, and I think we're going to use Blender, and we're going to, because we were talking, Kuroy and myself, we were just talking before we went live about you can use you can make your clothing in Max, uh, but if you want to use the FBX tool, the FBX export pathway, there are still some issues with that. So you have to sort of jiggle around with it to try and get it to do what you want. And that's one of the reasons why people still stick with Cal 3D when they're doing clothing, because the toolkit isn't quite stable. I think you were saying, Kuroi, that the toolkit
Yes,
for
yes.
Macs,
hmm
just
When it comes
Macs,
to yes, when
yes,
it comes to 3D Studio Max, it still needs some work to just be improved.
yes, and it's not the toolkit's fault. It's actually
No, no.
a legacy issue of the way that the original avatars were built in 3D Studio Max. I mean, almost 2 decades ago now, because they
hmm
used what then was it was actually an add-on called Character Studio, and it allowed you to make all sorts of rigged characters and animations and things. But the problem is that they eventually um, it got I can't remember why they got rid of it. Did they get rid of it? It was sort of absorbed into
Yeah,
Max,
yes, I think so.
and
As far as I remember.
yeah, and they did various things. This is discrete, obviously. They absorbed Character Studio into Max and jiggled around with it in a way that has now the consequences of that for us as creators is that things like the toolkit that IMVU desperately want to get into play for Max is tricky because of the way the avatars still rely on that legacy system that was put
hmm
in place with Character Studio. But anyway, so that's it was just fascinating sort of conversation that we were having before we went live.
Yes.
So right, so yes, uh, uh,
So
uh,
we are going to import a skirt.
yes, and fiddle around with it and see what we can do.
Yeah, and we will just try to maybe talk about few things when it comes to Blender Studio. We will
Yes,
see how it goes
yes,
today.
yeah.
So
All right then.
the topic is quite loose. So yeah, let's
Yes,
just go and try to import the skirt as FBX.
yes.
So let's go and click this icon and import FBX. So now we have to just find our file, which is
So
somewhere
is this
here.
export? Did we? This is exported from Blender, not Max.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
this is exported from Blender
yeah,
because the toolkit in 3D Studio Max is quite useful when it comes to, let's say, making rooms or furniture or attachments. But when it comes to clothing or any kind of garment, you still may have some problems with the waiting and, well, exporting should work, but waiting may be problematic.
yeah.
But
All
yeah,
related to the Character Studio thing we were just
yep.
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that the biggest issue is just the skeleton at the moment in
yeah,
3D Studio.
yeah.
All right, so let me just find the folder. This is this one. So where is it? Oh, it's wrong folder. Sorry, guys.
So many folders.
Yeah, and this is this one, and it's number 16. So okay, so this is the skirt, and this is FBX. So let's just import, setup. All right, and we can just import this as skirt, so it should be here. Next, and import. I think I need to change just my avatar. Oh no, it's okay. Let me just change it because
So
we don't
did you
have the.
include the torso?
Oh, let me just
Not the torso. The
the
legs.
bottoms. No,
Yeah.
I didn't include in this export. So because I created this skirt in Marvel's Designer,
Yeah.
retopologized it in 3D Studio,
Yeah.
and imported to Blender
Yeah.
to weight it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that's the issue. All right. With oh, so let me just re-import this one more time. Or maybe no. Let's just leave it. Okay, let's just leave it like it is. Because I want to show you something different with this skirt. So yeah, but that's the way how easy it is to import the as skirt as FBX, right?
Yeah.
Or as any mesh as FBX. Now you can just add texture. We had this when you import this any mesh as FBX, you have the texture importer as
Oh
well.
yes,
So
yes.
if you set up your textures in Blender, it will import any textures you have, and you won't have to add
Right.
them manually, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's just do it, and let's just import diffuse and normal, and of course shininess.
Shyness.
And this one is just generated by Substance Painter, but it contains all the data. So shadows and highlights are baked into this one.
Mm.
And you should only use this one if you are importing something to Classic, right?
Yes.
Not Studio.
Yeah.
So let's just preview. And it should be visible.
Oh, there
Yes,
we go.
and you have
Shiny
this skirt.
bumpy. Yeah.
Yeah, shiny. And yes, you said the bumpy. So yeah, you can see all these, I don't know how you call it, uh,
Stripes, I guess, or
stripes. Yeah,
yeah.
intentions in the skirt. Yeah, so that's the easiest way to import anything to Studio while using FBX format.
Mm.
I still use a Cal 3D when I export from Max, so that's the huge difference and huge leap, right?
Mm.
For the creators to use different exporters. And I will show you another way to import a garment, but this one is going to be layerable, right? So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a layer. So let's just go and choose uh, anything. It can be just empty female clothing. And let's go and import this skirt one more time. So let's go and find it. So it's desktop and over here and number 16. So skirt final. And now let's go and you have this number here, right?
Yeah.
So you can use any of those, but they will just change the part of body.
Overrides. Yeah.
Yeah,
Overrides the
override.
default.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
those are the defaults corresponding
Yes.
to the
So
different sections of the torso
from
of the
0
mod.
to 9,
Yeah.
if you want to add, let's say, accessory or something different,
Yeah.
go something beyond 9. Let you can go anywhere here. So from 10 to 99. Let's go
Yeah.
with 94, right?
Yeah.
That should be fine. Next. And of course, we can just import the material, but we don't have color here. So we have to do this manually. So next, and review, import. And now,
We keep
as
the
you can
legs.
see, we got the legs, we got the
Yeah.
torso here. And this acts like as a label. So if you import anything like, let's say, skirt, trousers, or let's say funny pack,
Yeah.
or maybe I don't know, bag
Yeah.
or something different,
Yeah.
even a hat, right?
Yeah.
It won't overwrite your any body part. It will just create a reliable uh, clothing to your avatar. It will add a layerable clothing.
Yeah.
So let's just import quickly something. Oh, let me go to components and let's just import textures, and you will see that it just works as it should. So, oh, this is not normal. This one is normal, and this is shininess, which I already imported. So let's just hit preview, and as you can see,
Yeah.
you have the skirt here. And of course, you can, let's go to looks, and you can add your avatar. And let's go and add this one. And she got trousers, right? So as you can see,
Yeah.
we
Layerable
already
over the
have the
top.
trousers here,
Yeah.
and on top we have the skirt. So this is how you create items that are layerable or just are one on top of another. So let's just hit preview, double-sided. It will just look better. But always remember, when you create layerable clothing, just make them big enough
Yes.
to just not get into the avatar, right?
Yeah.
Because you will see all
Yeah.
the items.
Yeah. A little bit
Because
of clipping.
yeah, it contains all its own physique and own weighting, right?
Yeah.
So if the avatar moves somewhere different, let's just test this. Let's go with the avatars, and let's add some movement here, and you will see that yeah, it's poking here. So
Yeah.
of course it's extremely hard to create something that will just work seamless and perfect. But making things bigger or oversized will help you to achieve this goal. And when it comes to, let's say, glasses or something different, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Because the head is quite stiff, and if you create some funny pack, it should be fine, or maybe some backpack as well.
Yeah.
And of course, you can create some coats or maybe raincoats uh, as a label clothing. I have something like this in my catalog, so let me just let me go maybe type, and yeah, I have few items, so let's just put them on. Yeah, as you can see, this one works quite nice, and uh, it doesn't glitch, right?
Yeah.
So you can change your oh, let's change to this maybe. Yeah, as you can see, the available top still remains, and it's big enough not to go into the main clothing part. All right, yeah, and that's all when it comes to the layerable items. So always remember to put the number of the item big enough. Like here we have 94, and you can go, let's say 16, 14, or 25. That's fine. And you can of course add mesh here. If you add mesh here, like from Carl 3D, you can click on plus, and here you can type custom number. So this one is going to be layerable as well. So if you just import here, that's also fine. And of course you will have to just import the asset here. All right, yeah. So that's all when it comes to those reliable clothing.
Yeah.
That's hard to pronounce. Sorry, guys, for
That's all right.
destroying your ears. Okay, so
Layerable. Yes.
reliable. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So well, we can import different items, I think, to the studio now, because we have time, and we already ran out of ideas. What should we do? in
Well,
general.
there is one thing that we could
But
probably
if you have,
touch
yeah,
on is the. I mean, obviously, when you did this skirt, this was because this is this. If anyone watching watched the learning session, the official learning session that was from early September,
mm-hmm.
this was the skirt that was just pulled together as a quick project
Yes.
for that process. And of course, looking at it more closely now, there are we've got clipping
Mm-hmm.
issues with clipping and so forth, um, and that's something that you would definitely have to be aware of when you are making your clothing, particularly if you're passing it through Blender.
Yes, yes. If you use several
Mm,
3D apps, like going maybe designing in Marvel Designer, then 3D Studio Max, and then
mm,
Blender, that's
mm,
quite problematic, right? And
mm,
usually should stick to, let's say, Marvelous and Blender, or Marvelous and 3D Max.
mm,
But as just you mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's still problem exporting stuff from 3D Studio Max as FBX. So
mm,
yeah, we have to still find some workarounds to just make things work.
mm. I mean, and
Because
because that, I mean, we can the toolkit for Blender is pretty much quite mature now from the point of
yes,
view of what you can do
yes,
with it. But the disadvantage isn't so much with the toolkit; it's with Blender itself versus Max, because Max uses the what was it you were saying? Physique? No,
oh yeah, I mean
skin.
the physics is obsolete, so
Yes,
it's not used and
it's
shouldn't be used in
no
Max. But yeah, it's skin modifier.
skin
Yes.
modifier. Yeah, so the skin modifier, because because of what it does, it means that your clothing, when you're making avatar clothing, is going to be much more closely aligned to the avatar than
Mm-hmm.
it would be if you were doing the same sort of thing in Blender, because Blender doesn't have a corresponding system in place. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of the advantages of obviously using Max, is that Max is fully compatible with IMVU because that's what they
Yes.
used, versus Blender, which isn't. So it means that there's more work to be done if you do use Blender, and you do have to be aware of. I'm going to use the highlighter. So all these areas where we've got clipping
Mm-hmm.
and the deformation of the mesh, that's air quotes easier to set up in Max because of the system that Max uses. Whereas
Yep.
in Blender, we have to do all of that manually, and it's not. It takes a bit of time and patience to get. You've got to set it up, export, import, check it in Studio, and then go back to Blender, do it again, and you
Yeah.
rinse and repeat a number of times
Exactly.
until you get it
You
right.
have to do this numerous time, right?
Yeah.
And while in 3D Studio Max, there is a nice modifier as skin wrap.
Yes.
So it just takes the data from the avatar
Yeah.
and adds this to, let's say, to the skirt.
Yes.
And this way, you just almost have the perfect weighting. Of course,
Yes.
depends on the complexity of the mesh and
Yeah.
topology.
Yeah.
But after a few tweaks or maybe vertex paint, you just have a fully uh, weighted dress or skirt in this
Yeah.
case. So yeah,
Yeah. It's yeah.
that's the biggest advantage
Yeah.
over Blender when it comes to 3D Studio Max.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future there are going to be some uh, additions or upgrades to Blender
Yeah.
to have like weighting tools like in 3D Studio Max.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because it does that does make a difference, not having access to that kind of functionality in Blender. I
Hmm.
mean, you can weight paint, but it's all done manually. Everything has to
Yes.
be essentially done manually. You can copy weight values
Yes.
and
Hmm.
vertex groups from across meshes in Blender, but you still end up having to do quite a bit of tidying up with your weight values to make sure that the mesh deforms properly.
Yeah, so imagine your work in Blender can be done like in 5 minutes in
Yes,
3D Studio Max.
yes,
So that's huge advantage, of course, by paying huge price.
yes,
Uh,
yes, exactly. You're paying
that
for the privilege of doing that.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's of course your choice. And
yes,
but yeah, hopefully Blender will have such tools in the future, and I'm rooting for that
yes,
because the Blender just became very powerful. And as you can see, the toolkit is just made for Blender, and then additionally, it was created for Max
yes,
because we still use Max, right?
yes,
So we still need to export. But yes, the Blender is just has the best version of the toolkit as is possible to create.
yeah,
And as you said, it works just seamlessly,
yeah.
almost seamlessly.
It does. Yeah. But yeah, all right then. That was just so just be aware of that when you are making clothing in Blender. If you are
Hmm.
porting it in from other applications, is that you're generally going to find that you'll need to do quite a bit of work tidying up the weight values to make sure it deforms properly in IMVU.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So all
So
right then. Well, carry on.
yeah, maybe we can jump to Blender and y- we can use the toolkit. I know that you can find a lot of tutorials on JazzCat's website and
Yes.
Discord. So we are just going to cover the basic of the maybe room importing, creating room.
Yes.
So if you go to Blender and create new file, it should be of course empty new file.
Yeah.
And you can just press this arrow or just press N on your keyboard to just
Yeah.
pop up this toolbar
Sidebar. Yeah.
sidebar, yes. And you have this toolkit. Let me just collapse. And yeah, you have the toolkit. So this is the latest version. And as you can see, still in beta
Yeah.
version, but still, but it works very nice. And so you have room tool, furniture tool, attachment tool, clothing tool, animation tool, which is not available in Max
Yeah.
because of the skeleton
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay, and then exporting, of course. All right, so let's go with sample room maybe. So to create a room, it's just easy as pressing few buttons, create a room, and there you have it.
That's a basic
We just
room.
created, yeah, we just created our basic room.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can just export this one and import to Studio.
Mm-hmm.
But
And you literally
before we,
can. If you export that now, you will get exactly that in Studios.
yes, of course. Oh, let's just save the file and let me just save it on the desktop maybe. That's gonna be the quickest way, right? So room toolkit, and this is my desktop. So save as. All right, and yeah, so now you can just add elements to room, or you can make it bigger. So to make it bigger, you can of course go to edit mode, right? Let me just, am I in correct place?
Yes, you
Yes.
are. Yeah.
And you can press 3, right, to just select uh, this tool. So this is a face select, and you can just move it manually.
Yeah.
Or you can press G and which was the axis of this? Oh, this is x-axis. So press G and x-axis to move it along the axis. So bear that in mind. I'm new to Blender, so maybe I might say obvious things that are for that are obvious for users of Blender, but I'm still learning. Um, there's a big difference between Blender and Max when
Yes.
it comes to learning,
Yes.
but I think it's easier. There are a lot of shortcuts in Blender, but it's easier to just create meshes there
Mm.
in Blender, of course.
Mm.
All right, so you can also change the size of the room by just changing these values. So this is X, Y, and Z. So you can just,
Oh, that's interesting. It reverted it
yeah,
back to its original size.
yeah. And you can make it just higher or taller. All right, yeah. So that's
They're very big books.
Yeah, big box. Now you can add furniture nodes. So you can select where you want to add those nodes. So you can add floor, wall, or ceiling. So maybe let's just add few wall nodes because why not? And just press furniture. As you can see, we have this furniture node added here.
At the
And if
wall.
you want to make
Yeah.
a row of those furniture nodes, you can just click right and we just add multiple
Oh, look, you can change the distance as well.
and you can change the distance, yeah, spacing by
Mm.
just typing this, let's say 10. And then, as you can see, it will just make the
Nice.
distance between those nodes. And you can, of course, go down, left, as you can see, yeah. And you can, of course, add some nodes on the ceiling. Let's just add one. As you can see, you don't have to manually do this as we did before
Yes.
the toolkit. So
Yes.
that's huge improvement and
Yes, it is.
it speeds your work.
I remember
Uh,
those days
yeah,
of manually placing nodes.
yeah. And the biggest problem I think wasn't the nodes when it comes to furniture, but the avatar nodes.
Yes.
So you can just add idle, standing, or sitting. When you just click on idle, it will just add your node here. So in the middle, right?
Mm.
You can, of course, move it by just pressing G and let's say X-axis.
So we've
All
got
right, yeah.
6 by default, which are the
Yes.
minimum requirements for rooms in
Mm-hmm.
IMVU. So 6 avatar spots.
Yes. So you have those here.
Yeah.
And then we created our seventh node. So
Yes.
it's over here. And if, of course, you can add different, and you can also add custom nodes and additional catchers, handles, and or remove them.
Mm.
You can also add a see-through node. I think we covered this one in 3D Studio Max, right? Because
I
we
think
covered
so.
the toolkit.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, just will create a node that allows the wall to be invisible when the camera is facing this wall, like here, right?
Yes.
So it will just this is what's that? Oh, I mean I have to change uh, the mode, and
What,
now
what
I
are
should
you
be
doing?
right. Okay, so there is an error. Let me just change it to this. No, it's still present. Oh, that's new. Let me just click on room export and it doesn't work. Okay, I broke the toolkit. You see how
Whoa.
when you just allow 3D Studio guy to Blender,
Yeah.
he's gonna just break things.
Yeah.
Well, normally it works, right? So
Yes.
I don't know why it doesn't work at the moment.
I can't remember, wasn't there? I don't think there was a particular way that you had to set it up before you click the button.
No, I don't know
Yes, yeah.
why.
That's probably one for the team to look at.
Yes, we can make a screenshot and send them
Yeah, so if
this.
you grab us, hang on, I can do it. Hang on. Put the error back up on screen. Is it going to crash? No, right, hang on then. Whoops.
Oh, this one is bigger.
Oh, there we go. Yes, the console. Right, hang on. So this is just a little bit of
Yep.
a technical aside.
Oh, so this is a skeleton room not found.
Oh, underscore. Oh yeah, look, it's skeleton dot room. So change that to underscore.
This one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably the thing.
We will check it. So if we can fix the error, that would be nice. And now, no, it's still.
Room
If,
export.
hmm, that's interesting.
So yeah, skeleton underscore room not found.
Yes. Oh, it's small s. Maybe that's why.
Yes, it's case sensitive. Yeah. Did you do that, or was it like?
No, no, I didn't do anything
Yeah, it
to
is.
this.
So it's case sensitive. Yeah, so that's
All
fixed it.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
There we go, folks.
So
Live
as you,
TV.
uh, yeah, as you can see, it works and it adds the cone.
So that's just an aside that if you are using the toolkit and you get that error popping up that it can't find
Mm-hmm.
something, it's usually going to be that there's either uppercase, lowercase issue, or the spacing between the words like skeleton and room is either a period or an underscore.
Yes.
If it's so, like in the error that we just got, if it said that it can't find skeleton underscore room, check that the underscore isn't a period and just edit and change it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
toolkit's
So
not
that.
quite. I think that IMVU mentioned that they were making it so that it wouldn't matter whether it
Yes.
was an underscore or, but they haven't got around to doing that yet. So just keep
Yeah.
that in
So
mind.
yeah, of course, it's still beta,
Yeah,
so bear that in mind. It might contain some issues or errors, but it will be just fixed as soon as possible,
yeah.
and you can report your findings as well. All right, so yeah, and that's all when it comes to the room. You can of course texture it, add furniture, anything you prefer. Let's just save it. And now we can just export this one just by clicking export, and room exported as room toolkit. So we have this FBX here. So let's go to Studio and try to import. Let's not save this one. Add new. Rooms, furniture, rooms, and this one is empty. So all right. I was always shocked by this texture here.
It never used to be like that. It
Yeah,
it actually was a pretty clear image, so I've no idea why it does that.
I don't know why that's the JPEG. So maybe after like when you upload a video to YouTube and do this several times,
Mm,
you get this effect.
mm,
Maybe that's why.
possibly, yeah. It never used to look like that though. You could actually
Yeah.
see the text, and it was a proper brick wall and with graffiti
Mm-hmm.
sprayed on it.
Yes. So let's just go and import FBX, and mine is on the desktop. And was it room toolkit? No. Oh yeah, room toolkit. Okay, it's probably this one. Setup and next.
No materials.
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh,
Oops.
what's that?
uh,
What is this?
it's
What's
not
happening?
exported the. It's not. That looks like it's not set the root skeleton node
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Let me try to do this again, or we can just go and import a clean file, because we've played with this one for a while,
Yeah.
and that might be the issue. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is this. Let me just check the file.
Skeletons, no meshes. Where's the
Oh
mesh?
yeah, yeah. Where is the mesh? That's weird. Did I export it properly
Yeah,
just
it
by
should do.
selecting? Maybe I didn't export it like this. Let me just try again and import. Oh no, it's the same file, I think. Yeah, no materials
That's
and
weird.
1 kilobyte. That's, yeah, That's weird. Let's go and create a new. Come on, new general, and don't save. Okay, let's
Do this again.
yeah, let's do this again. Toolkit room, create room. Okay, let's add few furniture nodes.
It
So
doesn't usually cause this much problems, folks. Just it's just probably because we're live.
yes,
It's
that's
not.
always the issue.
It's not usually like this.
When you go just live, it's just
Yeah.
you get all the errors that you
Yeah.
never had. So save as, and let's just name it like this, save, and export. Okay, so now
So that should give us 2 meshes and the skeleton.
we will see. Let's just import this one as fresh. Derive. All right, so import, and there is room 1. Okay, 1 skeleton,
No
0 meshes.
meshes.
Why? I'm not sure. It worked when I just use it off camera. Did
So
I
try selecting.
maybe scene
Oh no!
connection?
Look, room export skeleton dot room.
This
So
one.
yeah, just change that to lowercase s. That's got to be a typo in. I don't know where that's.
Oh yeah, because this is the latest version. Maybe
Yes.
something changed.
Yeah.
Let me just check it out. Check it out one more time. So import. No, no meshes here. Yeah, still no meshes. Let me just check something. I still have the. I
Old
think I
one.
still have the different version of Blender,
Yeah.
and I think the toolkit is in previous version, right? Let me just check it. Toolkit, yes. So this is
Yeah. Try it.
old version.
Yeah. Try that then.
Room tool. Let's just create an empty one. All right. And then we are just going to save it.
Yeah. You see, skeleton dot room is lowercase s.
Yes, that's difference. Okay, let's just name it as maybe tool. Desktop, save. All right, I'm gonna select it. Select maybe room export and export. All right, we are going to import this one as clean. So derive, import, and number 2. Okay, yeah, we have meshes here.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So it's a
setup,
typo.
yeah. So yeah, we have to report this to,
Yeah.
yeah, and it works as it should. So yeah, the previous version, so this one is it still works when it comes to rooms, and the current, so 0.6.9
Mm.
contains some errors that needs to be fixed.
Yeah. I'm just.
So yeah, it's nice that we discovered this one, right?
Mm.
And it's good that I still have the older version.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, as you can see, that's the simplest way to import room to and create room for IMVU and import to Studio as FBX, of course.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we have these 6 default nodes here. We don't have any additional nodes because I didn't add them in this version, but you can always just add them anytime. Let's say add to wall, furniture, and ceiling, furniture. Oh, this one. And let's just save it and export one more time. And I think you can overwrite this one, right? When you create a room.
Yeah. If it's the same file, yes.
It is. Okay, let me just, can we, let's just keep this one and import. And yeah, I think we should have furniture nodes here.
Yeah.
So let me just go to furniture and add. Yeah, so you have the node. So you can overwrite the file. Yeah, so this is the ceiling. As you can see, we have palm tree on the ceiling,
Yeah.
which is quite nice. And of course, you can add more. Okay, so we have pillows.
I have to wonder how you get up to that
Yeah,
bed thing.
oh, let me just move it. Come on.
Yeah.
That's the tricky
Yes. Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
It still
Use
needs some
well.
improvements, I think.
Yeah.
And now I should be what? Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's high. There we go. It's kind of tricky to. Yeah. It's kind of tricky to move those things.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, but we have also, and as you can see, those are just see-through nodes, right?
Yeah.
So you can just cycle through this. Okay, and let's return. Yes. Can I go there? Yeah, I can. So I'm just laying on the wall.
There you go. Dancing on the
Can I go
ceiling.
there? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I'm inside this. All right. Yeah. So that's the exporter for the
Oh
Blender,
wait, hang
the
on. Is
toolkit.
that
Yeah.
do that again? Just
With
rotate around the room.
oh yes, it
Look.
disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything that's on the
Did you set that up? Where did you set that up?
no, it's by default, I think. I didn't set up anything except those nodes.
Oh, I don't
Furniture.
remember it doing
That's
that.
right.
That must be new.
Probably. I mean, that's the 6.7 version, so
Oh,
that's not the latest. Yeah, but I
I
don't
don't
remember
remember that. I don't
having
remember
this
stuff
feature.
disappearing from walls.
But yeah, it doesn't disappear from ceiling.
No.
But if I place this, let me just press this button.
Yeah, place that on the wall if you can grab it.
Yeah, if I can grab it. Oh, yes.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
And yes,
Oh, it
it disappears.
does.
So everything disappears from the see-through walls. That's cool.
Okay, so is that the default behavior in Studio and desktop beta now?
At least in Studio, yes. As far as I can see. Let's just load a room. That will be a good experiment. So maybe let's go and
Just create a new project.
uh, let's go anywhere. Let's
Yeah.
go like this. And inventory rooms. And let's just set something that we can just add something to the walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this one contains wall nodes, but probably. So this one is from the this live
Oh, the live
session.
session, yeah.
No, not live session. This one from the Twitch
Oh,
session.
yes.
All right. And okay, it's still loading.
Yes. It's a big
So
room
maybe
with lots of
I
stuff in
chose
it.
I
Yeah.
chose the too heavy
Yes.
file. Yeah. It's funny, right? To see just everything pops into place.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Can I move? Yeah, I can move it. All right, but we want to place something on the wall, but I don't see any wall nodes here, right?
Yeah. It doesn't
I
look
only
like there
see
are any.
ceiling nodes,
Mm.
and floor nodes. So I think that's not the case here.
No.
So we have to switch the
Yeah.
room, and where can we have the nodes? I wonder if you just load any room. it would work. This is decorated room. Okay, and let's just go to the decoration, but I don't see.
There's no nodes on that one either. Don't people use wall nodes anymore?
Yeah, that's weird, right? You have a lot of floor nodes, but not a single wall node. Can I move it from here? Maybe I can remove one item. Oh, but this is one is still floor, right? Yeah, this is floor node. Oh my, that's gonna take ages to find our room with wall nodes. Yeah, I think that's almost
Yeah, try that
impossible.
one.
Yeah. Oh yes, we
Yeah,
have.
yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Okay.
So let's just play something not so obvious that should be on the wall. All right, yes. And then yes, it disappears.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you still have some
Yeah, because
text
those
here,
those are
but
built. Those are basically built into the mesh,
yes, so that's the
the room
difference.
mesh.
But
That is. Yeah.
yeah, but that's nice that it disappears, right? So cool.
So if that's a default behavior, what then is the purpose of having the
See-through node.
see-through nodes? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Hmm.
I guess it's an option. You know, you've always got that option to put a see-through node in to your
Yeah.
room, so you can specifically customize the behavior. But
Probably yes. To some.
because it's not necessarily removing the wall. Well, in that particular room, at least, because that's a solid box,
Mm-hmm.
a unified mesh. But if you were doing something that had, you know, if you were setting up
Mm-hmm.
see-through nodes specifically, you'd still have the option of being able to control.
Yeah, but as you can see, the ceiling is still visible right
Mm,
here. And if
yeah.
you go to the room that we just created, the ceiling is just it disappears, right?
Yes, because
And
it's
the
a
floor as well.
yeah, it's a single-sided mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
So if
Let's
you did
just go.
that
Yeah,
double-sided,
let's just do double-sided. Oh yeah. So not now we see this. So now,
it's still, yeah, so the functionality is there. It's just that it's not affecting the actual room mesh itself.
yeah. But if you place see-through node here,
Yes, it
it
would.
should it would just act
Yes.
like a one-sided, right?
Yes.
Not double-sided. So
Yeah.
I think that's the purpose of this see-through node here. It's nice that the things on the wall disappear. All right.
Yeah, interesting. So that's another discovery that we've made during our live stream.
Yes. All right, and I think that covers everything when it comes to importing because you can import any file, and I think that's importing layerable things will be useful for you guys if you didn't know how to import to Studio.
Mm,
There you have it.
mm.
You can use it as a tutorial. Okay.
What happens if you spin the room round whilst you're sat on? Oh, the avatar disappears.
Yes.
Interesting.
Very.
Mm.
It is quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that being.
Yeah,
Did you?
that might be a different new feature, I think.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
remember. I don't recall
No.
that the studio had this feature before.
No.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, be sure to just explore the toolkit
Yeah, there's tons
and
of things you can. I
see that.
mean,
Yeah.
if you're using Blender and you've got access to the toolkit, it's particularly with things like animation, rooms. The toolkit's good for rooms because of the skeleton setup. You don't have to be too fussed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fuss around, I should say, setting up the
Yes.
skeleton. You just drop your nodes in and it does it all for you. When you export
Mm-hmm.
animations, as in poses, those are much, much easier to do now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Animation tool is
yeah.
awesome. So you can just
Um,
create poses.
yeah. Clothing, that's pretty good as well. Notwithstanding the weight painting issues that we were talking about earlier that you do have to be
Mm-hmm.
aware of.
Yeah.
Attachment tool, that's pretty solid as well. That's pretty easy to that once you get used to that, that's pretty easy to use as well. It doesn't, because you're using a different skeleton to the clothing tool. That's always the thing that trips
Yes.
people up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
I noticed that when you just create, let's just go and new and go to the toolkit and attachment. Yes.
yeah, so it's using a completely different skeleton, or a different representation of the skeleton, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Because each of those bones represents an attachment point, hence the name of the tool, attachment tool.
Yeah.
And those represent the bones of the avatar. Yeah, so it's oh yeah, you've got to have a mesh in the thing. No, that's right. You select your bone.
Yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
yes. Yeah, we have it.
And then obviously you can mesh around the character then.
Yeah, you can choose either male or female. They both have the same skeleton,
Yes.
right? Just uh, the difference is between the appearance of the avatars, because
Yes.
as you can see, this is male and female, right? So that there is a
Yes.
difference. The female is just few steps on in the front,
Yes.
and the male avatar is just moved a bit back here.
Mm.
So when you just create, let's say, glasses,
Yes.
you have to create two different
Yes.
products, for one for male and for one for female, because
Yes.
they won't be just unisex at
Yeah.
all. I mean, yeah, they could be, right, if you just
Yeah.
have different heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe in the future, right?
Mm. But yes, it's the same sort of thing for the clothing tool as well. You've got your male and female avatar, and they both use the same skeleton, the same underlying skeleton as the accessory tool of the attachment
Mm-hmm.
tool. So yeah. And then yes, and then export. You don't have to fiddle around with exporting to FBX. You just create your item, and then click on the button in the
Yes, just
export
save your
button.
file
Oh yes,
and
save your file first,
export.
and then export, and it does the thing that it needs to do for you and sets everything up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very convenient to
Mm.
just use the toolkit
I mean,
if you
if
have
if
Blender.
you're I was going to say old school. It's not old school. If you are competent in what you know for exporting to FBX, you can still use the legacy method of file export FBX if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But the toolkit, the export button, just makes it a one-stop shop for everything.
Yeah, that's the fastest way to
Mm,
export, and you
mm.
are probably sure that just you exported it properly, right,
Yes,
without any issues.
yes, it'll be fully compatible with
Mm-hmm.
Studio. So yeah, it's always worth. Don't delete your versions of the toolkit when you download them. Just keep them
Yes.
archived because sometimes there are issues that crop up that, and it's relatively straightforward and quite quick to just replace the zip file.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that's something we can take a quick look at is how you install the toolkit because people keep trying to extract the contents of the zip.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just quite simple. As
Yep.
you just said, you just go to edit,
Yep.
preferences,
Yep.
and you just go to add-ons
Yep.
and just click install, right? So click
Yep.
on it and go to your zip file when you
Yeah.
just
Wherever you
download the
downloaded it.
toolkit.
Yep.
So mine is in downloads, I think. Yes, and this is the latest toolkit. So IMVU toolkit Blender, and this is for the LTS, so
Yes.
2.9. So
Yes.
always be sure that the version of the Max is the same. I
Yeah.
mean, sorry,
Blender.
the Blender. Yeah, yeah.
Vampire.
All right, and just click on select it and click install add-on, right?
Yeah.
And you might need to just uh,
Restart. Yeah.
restart Blender, and then when you just press N, you should have it over here.
Yeah. And if you want to install an older version, it's the same process, but you're just using a different zip file. You might have to
Yes.
remove or uninstall.
No, you don't have to. Yeah,
Uh,
that's convenient as well.
yeah.
So just file and preferences, and you have those add-ons here.
Yeah.
And the toolkit is somewhere.
IMVU I. There
Yeah,
it is.
over here. Yeah, so you can expand this and you can see the documentation. You can, of course, remove it, but
Yeah.
there is no need to remove it. You can just always install or
Yes.
override this with a new installer zip file. So don't extract the file, just eh, go to add-ons and install the zip file you have.
Yes.
All right. So any other ideas? What can we cover in this our final live stream? Or we can just start saying goodbye, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we can talk a little bit about the program itself, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, it's.
Can we start?
I
Because
know. I
I
know.
think you know being a creator in residence was and still is great experience, and we took part in few live sessions like the Twitch
Mm,
and the learning session.
mm.
And also we started creating a huge project, right? We spoke about this on
Oh
our
yes, we touched on that, and
Twitch.
yes,
Yeah. So we can say this. Obviously, you won't see this project at the moment, but we are creating a showcase room, which is
mm,
huge project, and it's
yes,
gonna take maybe few more creator in residence
mm,
um, runs.
mm,
But we started this project, and I think we managed to outline
mm,
uh, how vast and how big the project is, and how much work
mm,
creators in residence will have to put to just achieve this goal. But
mm,
it's possible, and
mm,
hopefully you will be able to see it sooner or later,
mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, that's one of the things that we've found is that the one of the I suppose the biggest challenge as a creator on the program is that creators are so used to being independent.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own projects that they're working on. They have their own speed at which they do things. Um, there's all sorts of uh, challenges from the point of view of meshing with other creators and or not just with IMVU. So that's something that you have to be aware of, I guess, for want of a better way of
Mm-hmm.
putting it. But the big challenge is, I mean, it's just an extension really of the way that the community as a whole uh, tends to react to the way that IMVU works, and it seems to work quite slowly in
Mm-hmm.
response to things. And yes, it does, because what we don't see as general community members is that we don't see all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Yes, it's a big company, right? It's not like 5 people working there.
Well, yeah,
It's
obviously, yeah.
huge company with a lot of different how you call it,
Departments. There are lots of
departments.
different
Yes, yes,
departments, and
yes.
each department has its own set of goals that it wants to achieve.
Yeah,
Out,
and everything has to be approved, right,
yes, everything has
before
to be
it goes live.
approved.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it, I mean, like with the room project that Kuroi was just mentioning, um, the creator team, which is part, the ones that are basically running the residency program, that's a relatively straightforward project to set up from the point of view of what is this project. Then the tricky part comes when that is then passed through all the other departments to see what they can benefit, what benefit it brings to them. And that's where things start to slow down, because there then becomes a lot of communication, interdepartmental communication,
Yeah. Yes.
and trying to figure out, what if we do this, what if we do that. So there's a lot of, I mean, that's one of the reasons why there are lots of meetings, because it's
Mm-hmm.
deciding on what needs to be done and how best to do it. And of course, creators run at their own pace, timescale. So they're kind of having meetings with themselves every day. But with IMVU, when you're doing projects with IMVU, they have to be scheduled. And it generally is that you schedule a meeting once a week, because that's the only time slot that's available. So
Yes.
the projects move slowly as a result, because of all that interdepartmental communication that has to occur, for a project to go forward. So it's not that IMVU isn't listening, or it's not that IMVU is slow to respond to things necessarily. It is that they are slow to respond because there's so many other departments involved in the decisions
Mm-hmm.
that get made in order for something to then go live. So that's the biggest thing that I think that's the biggest eye opener from the point
Mm-hmm.
of view of
Yes. Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what creators see.
Yes. So yeah, you can see how it works from the inside,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And how the people working there have to literally sometimes struggle with time,
mm,
because they have a lot of meetings, right?
mm,
They are not only sitting in front of the computer and uh, doing doing and replying or doing something. They
mm,
have to attend meetings.
mm.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but but other than that, it's been quite an interesting experience,
of
and
course.
I it looks like it may be something that they want to continue. So next year there may be another residency program,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously we have to wait another
Yeah,
12 months or so for that announcement. But
we will see.
yeah,
Yes,
but it looks like the
hopefully.
interest in this year's residency program has been, because this obviously was the first one to try out the program itself, to see how well it worked, how well it meshes with IMVU, how well creators might then manage that sort of relationship with IMVU, because obviously there are um, showcases, so you can be commissioned to do something for IMVU
Mm-hmm.
for creating outfits, VIP gifts, special offer gifts, uh, which that can be a month or so, a couple of weeks, a month, and that's very
Mm-hmm.
sort of hands off. The residency program is quite it's hands off to the point that to a point, but it's quite involved from the point of view of your interaction with IMVU is quite so you might have several meetings during a week every week.
Yes, it happened
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
us. So yeah.
yeah. And I mean, we kind of touched on this in some of the streams that we did, the official streams that we did.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the biggest challenge for creators. Is it's not so much the meetings, but it's the time zone differences. So if you're thinking of applying next year, just be aware of that. That's going to be the primary factor that's going to sway whether you get involved or not.
Yes,
Because
if
the
you
time.
work so
Go on,
yeah,
sorry.
if you work full time somewhere,
Yes,
it might be near impossible to find time
yes,
to just go there. I'm lucky that I'm full time mesher
yes,
here,
yeah,
so I could just sacrifice spend my time just for the residency, and
yes.
yeah,
So I mean, if you're
but
in the USA, it's they're on the east. I never reached Red Wheat. So they're on the west coast. So east coast is it 2 or 3 hours behind or
it's
in front?
or maybe even more, I think.
I can't remember. But for Europeans, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, and as you go further east, Australia. So some of the Australian creators,
Mm-hmm.
they're what is it, 12 plus hours.
Yes, I
So
think so.
that time difference will make a difference to how successfully you can function within the program. Because obviously, IMVU being a corporation, they wouldn't necessarily be able to. I mean, whilst they're still flexible, if they, I don't know how they would be able to do it actually. I don't think
Yes,
you'd be
that
able
would
to
be
do it, would
quite
you?
quite hard because
Yeah.
they need to sleep, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they operate on, not proper 9 to 5.
Yes.
So if you're in Australia 12 hours ahead, so it's the middle of the night for you when it's first thing in the morning for them. So as a creator, that would mean that if you wanted to get involved in the program, you'd have to consider that time difference. And doing it once or twice over an extended period isn't so much of an issue. But when you're doing it once or twice a week
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
over an extended period, that's
Yeah,
where it
just like
gets,
for 4 months, right?
yes, four
So
months.
it's yeah.
And on some weeks we've had, uh, you know, five. I think the most we've had was 5 meetings.
Yes. So yeah, like every day, or we had 3 meetings during
Yes,
one day.
yes,
So it was like
yes,
extreme, but yeah, it
yeah,
happens, and it might happen if there is another creator in residence. So
yes,
bear that in mind.
yes. So even though Kuroi and I are in Europe, so
Yes.
that's 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours
Mm-hmm.
ahead. So it's in our evening when the meetings occur in their morning. And we could just about manage that. But any more than that, and it could be quite a struggle. Unless, of course, you're a night owl and you're up all hours of the night.
Yeah, it depends, of course, on you.
Mm.
So,
But if
but it's worth applying,
yes,
right?
yes,
If you have time, if you can manage
yes,
this time frame, and yeah, it's worth because it gives a lot, not only just as a creator, but just as a person, because you interact with professionals,
yes,
right? So yeah.
yes. So we'll see. It's they did like what has happened so far within the program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a question of, them, I guess, looking at their numbers, and seeing how well it worked for them, um, in terms of the projects, and just going forward with it, I guess, and seeing what they can do with it next year.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. It's been very interesting.
Yes.
And
For
obviously,
me
we're
was
being a bit cagey because obviously there are things that we can't talk about.
yes.
So,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
which
but
it was,
that
which is another reason why IMVU always seems to be slow to respond to things, or they don't seem to
mm-hmm.
respond to things as thoroughly as you might want them to, because obviously there are things that they can say,
Yes.
and a lot of things that they can't say. So it's. I mean, that's another thing that's quite challenging, I guess, is um, talking about the program
Mm-hmm.
in a way that doesn't expose stuff
Yeah,
that
or
you're not supposed
yes.
to, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, is another way.
Yeah. Yeah. Disclose, expose,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, it's been very interesting. So good luck to whomever decides to try and apply
Mm-hmm.
next year.
Yes, of course.
Oh, we don't have any tips or secret insider knowledge, or do this and you're guaranteed to get in.
No, no.
That
As you can see, we are I think we have different expertise, right? Because
yes,
I mean, we are both veterans when it comes to IMView, of course.
yes,
So that might be, of course, one of the factors
yes,
as first residents,
yes,
because we are experienced on IMView, and I have experience in 3D Studio Max,
yes,
meshing, and of course texturing, Marvel's Designer, Substance Painter, and Photoshop, of course.
yes,
And you also have your expertise in Blender, and not only because I think it goes beyond the creator, right?
mm,
The I think the media and the tutorials you created for the
mm,
creators,
yeah,
it's just very valuable, and yeah.
yeah. So so don't yeah. So yeah, there isn't anything that we can say that would guarantee your inclusion. So don't be expecting that, and don't ask for it, because we're just going to throw our hands up and say there's nothing. It is literally a lottery, but that lottery it is very much dependent on what IMVU has got going on at the time. So next year, whatever IMVU has got going on, the people that they choose will more than likely mesh with the potential projects that they have in mind,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they're working on at the time. For us, it was establishing the toolkit, getting all that sorted out, particularly with Max, Kuroi's experience with Max, because the Max toolkit is the one that's being actively developed right now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's that's essentially why I guess we were selected. But next year the criteria will be different.
Yeah, probably. It just depends on the needs, right?
Yes, yes. But yes, so that's it, I'm afraid.
Yes, unfortunately, we have to say bye bye,
Yes,
at least for the streams, but you
yes,
can find us on IMVU.
yes. So that's Kuroi001,
Yes, Kuroi 001. Yes.
and obviously me, Jazz Cat.
Yeah.
But yes, this is the last stream. So we did 16. We covered,
That's quite achievement, right? Just
yeah,
doing those streams every week.
yes,
16 streams,
yes,
more than 16 hours.
yes. Oh, I
That's
don't know how
great.
many hours it is. I'd have to count it
Yeah.
up on Twitch or something. But we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously, more so Marvelous Designer, because obviously a lot of people are interested in
Mm-hmm.
making clothing. And I think we said during some of the streams, to be frank, if you're creating clothing and you want to get into it in any sort of serious manner, it's probably a good idea to make the investment, particularly if you are already familiar with IMVU system, the
Yes.
derivation, the creating system. If you're coming in through it into it brand new, it's a little bit more difficult to justify the expense because it's what
Yes.
$300 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to guarantee. Hey, Miyaka, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed going to recoup that investment over
Mm-hmm.
your 12 months.
Yes.
Um,
That's very true because you never know.
no,
Sales on IMVU fluctuate, and you know how the economical
yes.
situation is not only economical but the geo situation with the all things happenings in the war affect
Oh, right.
our
Yes.
sales.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's what's happening right now is a lot of creators are reporting that their sales
Yes.
are down quite significantly,
Yeah.
and no one can quite figure out why.
So yeah, it's good to just start and check if you are meant to just create 3D products. Just start from, let's say, Blender, maybe learn Blender,
Yes.
start creating small, start creating accessories if you want to be, of course, measure. And then when you see that there is a potential and you want to do this, you can just invest in a Marvel's Designer.
Yes. So, but if you do want to get into clothing seriously, that's something that you really will have to consider because it's kind of, well, as we showed in the streams, making clothing, just making the mesh is so easy using Marvelous Designer. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to get into clothing making, it's worth looking at investing in that. But again, with the caveat of you can't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get an income from it. But it's much easier than trying to make clothing in Max or Blender or Maya for that matter.
Yes, of course.
But yes, so we've done a lot of streams mainly on Marvelous because
Yeah, we focus on Marvelous
yeah,
because yeah, it's amazing tool
yeah, and
to
there's a lot
create
of interest
rooms.
in it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Max because of the toolkit. And you might still see one or two streams popping up, even though this is the last one for the creator in residence streams. You might see the occasional stream popping up, just
Yes.
covering some of that. Um,
Yeah, we did Substance Painter as well. That's quite nice tool to
oh,
create textures.
Miyaka, what is that? Miyaka's saying she will be doing a live stream with IMVU in November. Is that for the
Oh,
toolkit? Pregnant pause whilst we wait for the.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
cool.
So we are going to watch another
Yes.
stream.
Yeah. So what's oh, animation. Drop a link to your Twitch stream, your Twitch channel. Drop a link to that in chat. But yes, that's the other thing that was or was a bit iffy is the animation
Mm-hmm.
tool, but that's something that they're working on really hard. So Miyaka's Twitch for anybody watching this after the fact. That's twitch.tv/Miyaka's Creation. So that's MIAKAS Miyaka's Creations. Creations. Just be doing furniture because the avatar animation doesn't. Yes, that's what we were saying earlier. So she's just doing furniture animation because the avatar tool still doesn't. Oh, nice. They'll be doing the Blender avatar. Yes, excellent. Okay. Well, keep an eye on that. That's in November. So that's a learning session then, Miyake. Is that?
It's gonna be learning session, I think.
So if it is, that
Just like we did.
yeah, okay. So it's a learning session. So a notification will go out for that. So keep an eye out on your creator notification dashboard thing. And see if you can get in on that. They'll have limited spaces, I would imagine. So see if you can get in on that, and that'll be one to watch. I mean, even though it's 3D Studio Max, it's always worth watching because you'll pick up a lot of tips, particularly from Miyake, on animation. So you'll pick up a lot of tips on animation. So keep an eye out for that in your creator messages dashboard. And yes, so that's it. That's I don't think there's anything else.
No, I think we covered everything we wanted to in this stream. So yeah, thank you very much for staying with us for 16 streams. If you have watched all of them, congratulations.
Yes. So okay. So Miyake's got streams going on Thursdays. Okay. So if you've not, so do the follow, the liking, and the thingamajiggery.
Yeah.
So that's Miakas, Miyake's Creations, Creations, all one word, Miyake's Creations. So that's twitch.tv / and then Miyake's Creations. Yes, you did miss it, McCoy. I know. Well, it's yeah. We were talking about that earlier. So Miyake's just saying that we do the streams too early on Monday mornings. And it's like, yes, well, that's one of the issues we were talking about with the time zone differences, the time frames. I mean, even from the point of, so that's another thing that is something that you'd have to consider, is that if IMVU as part of the program wants you to do some streaming of some, like, I don't know. So if you're a texture artist and you get into the program next year, they may want you to do some streams, and you have to be cognizant of any time zone differences between when you're streaming and everybody else is awake. So keep that in mind as well. Not a morning person. Yes, I don't think there are very many morning people.
No.
I mean, it doesn't affect people in the US, creators in the US, so much as it does everywhere else around the world. So just keep that in mind. It's the time zone differences affect quite a lot of things that you don't necessarily think about immediately. But anything else?
I think that's cover everything we wanted to show. I mean, we could show more, right? But
Yeah.
of course, we are just limited by time, and yeah, you can just discover a lot of on your own.
Yeah.
Just it's good to just learn, research.
Well, all the streams are archived and they will be on various playlists on Twitch, on YouTube. Yes, we are, Miyake. It's we were just talking about that earlier. It's been very interesting. So if you watch the last half an hour or so, you'll get us. We were talking about that. But yeah, so all the streams have been archived. They're archived on Catspits. So twitch.tv/Catspits, YouTube Catspits. Yes, so they're archived there. And they are archived on IMVU's official YouTube channel as
Yes,
HD versions.
you can watch them.
Yeah, so you
And
can
they are
watch them there.
still uploading them, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are HD versions. So we're only doing 720p for our live streams just to ensure that everything works and the signal is decent. But
Yes.
they are streaming the 1080p's, the higher resolution ones. Yes, Miyaka. Yes, yes, definitely. Try out for the next one.
Yes, it's worth. Just go and apply when
Yeah,
then there is a new creator in residence.
yeah,
It's a very rewarding and worth program. So go
yes,
ahead and just don't stop.
yes, yeah. And don't think that just because you might not be a named creator or anything like that, it's that you won't get in. That's not the case. Again, because it depends on what IMVU has in mind and what they're working on at the time. You might get in. You might get the invitation to join the program just because whatever it is, whatever skill level you might be at, might suit the purposes of what they have in mind themselves. So don't be intimidated or scared not to. I mean, even if they reject you, I mean, obviously, if you've tried and got rejected, you've at least tried. But don't be too disappointed because there are lots of things that you can still
Of
do.
course. Yeah, that's the first step, right?
Yeah,
Apply
yeah.
and don't be afraid.
No, no, exactly. Right. So it's been very interesting working with you, Kiroi, and
Yeah,
learning quite a
likewise.
lot about Marvelous in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, folks. That is the Creator in Residence streams for 2022 done, done and dusted. So that today
Yeah.
was the last one.
Ooh, we can set our sails and
Yes, yeah,
travel
yeah. Don't do that.
across the sea.
You'll make people motion sick.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Everybody will be thrown up on the screens.
No, don't do this.
Yeah, there really isn't anything to lose, but everything to gain, as Miyaka said.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, thanks Miyaka, thanks McCoy, thanks lurkers for lurking, and thanks for lurkers watching after the fact. We know you lurk and we know you watch. And yes, please remember that if you are watching this on the IMVU official channel, it is a restream.
Yeah, bear that in mind. So
Yes.
thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching our streams, and thank you, Jaskat, for your patience staying with me here.
Ah, dear. All right, we'll see you
Yeah,
sometime in
yeah,
the
you can
future, I
visit
guess.
us, and
Yes.
don't forget visit our catalogs and buy things.
But, yes.
Or
Yes.
derive, right? Derive from
Yes.
my meshes,
Derive.
not only from my meshes, but yeah,
Yes.
this.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We shall see you
Yeah,
some other day.
yeah.
Adieu,
Bye,
as they say.
bye.